I'm Jamie O'Kane, CPA, Small Business Advanced Tax Planning and Compliance Extraordinaire, and this is the Abundant Beans Podcast, the podcast that takes my love for learning what makes people tick while digging into the good, bad, and ugly of small business ownership. We strive to give you the insight that only those in the trenches of being and working with entrepreneurs can provide. Awesome. Well, welcome to the Abundant Beans Podcast. I'm Jamie, your host. And today on the podcast, we have Beth Bogan. Beth believes in creating relationships through live chat that offer patients the opportunity to receive the care they need, deserve, and desire, making a difference in the quality of their lives and health. Since founding Ace Chat in 2011, she strives to create a positive environment for her clients, their patients, and her amazing team. Blending attention to detail with her enthusiastic spirit, she is fearlessly committed to living the best life possible. Welcome, Beth.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
I love the service you guys provide, and I think it's a really interesting service because we've all interacted with, like chatbots. So I think it'll be really interesting to understand like how you guys do it differently, how it came to be and all that. So first question first. What was your first job?
Oh, first job ever. Okay. Aside from babysitting and, doing that kind of things, I'm from New Jersey originally, and I worked in a little chicken and ribs place. And it was kind of like the equivalent of Boston Market where you had to, choose sides and pick your chicken or your ribs. And so I was the scooper outer of food and the register runner and, kind of coordinating things in the kitchen. I absolutely loved that job.
That's so awesome. Boston Market. Wow.
A throwback, right?
It feels a little bit, I don't think so. I haven't been there since forever. My stepdad loved Boston Market. And he's always like, let's go to Boston Market. I'm like, I guess I'll eat mac and cheese. I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with mac and cheese.
It wasn't my favorite. But yeah, I feel like we ate there all the time. So you are also CSU Ram. Go Rammies.
Rammies for life.
Beth and I were actually there at the same time, which is interesting. I think I graduated a couple of years before I did, but it's always funny to me when I meet other Rams. So give us the rundown on your career journey. Where'd you start? How did you get to Ace?
So I've kind of always been in one way or another in the customer service industry, from scooping up sides and chicken and ribs to working in various retail department stores and things like that. I've worked in a variety of different retail locations, from soft lines to hard lines to grocery to point of sales. I mean, so it was always kind of a customer service based positions. And then I kind of found a need to be at home and with a little one, and was looking to stay in as much as possible, work from home as much as possible. And pre-COVID, that wasn't as common as it is now. So I actually ended up running into somebody who said, I've got a work from home position, and was with the chat company. And that particular company disbanded. My sister and I were actually working for the company together. And she said, hey, let's do this. As these guys disbanded and kind of dissolved, we kind of picked up the ball and ran with it. And she has also since retired. She is at home with her husband now and living her best life. And I'm, still kind of in charge here and keeping the show running. So, long evolution of customer service, but I really actually do find that even though people find this hard to believe, I'm a huge, extreme, possibly introvert, that Same. I kind of get, isn't that crazy? I kind of get my fuel from helping people out.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting into the nitty gritty. I always tell people are always like, you're an introvert? And I'm like, well, I'm an omnivert. Let's start there. But second of all, like, don't talk to me about the weather. Like, tell me about your fertility issues. Like, I don't, that's where our conversation needs to go in the first 5 minutes or, like.
Just dig right in.
Just tell me what's going on with your life. People tend to do that anyway. Just, tell me what your pain points are. What can I help with, or what can I sympathize with, or how can I support you, right?
Absolutely.
And that's I always like I'm explaining to people, like, that's how introverts actually tend to react. Like, we're there to help people, we're there to like support and get into the nitty gritty. And then we're going to go take a nap probably, because that's going to wipe us
To
out.
wipe us out. It's so true. And it's kind of like, I found out through a women's networking group I was in, and I didn't know this about myself. It was kind of like one of those, oh yeah, light bulb moments. I'm a connector. So I love to connect people and help them get the resources they need to solve whatever problem that is, even if it's just whatever. I know somebody who, and try to connect people, and I'm a helper.
Yeah, same. Actually, we were at a friend's house this last weekend, and they actually have like a birthday party to go to this weekend, but they can't find childcare. And I'm like, I can come watch the kids. Like, I'll bring my daughter. She needs to like start learning how to babysit anyway. She's 11, or she'll be 11. And she's like, they're like, are you sure? I'm like, this is a cakewalk. Like, you guys need a babysitter. I want you to go have fun. Like, that's not that big a deal, because I can't find anybody. And I'm like, all our people are gone. They all graduated college now at this point. And I was like, I can come watch the kids. Like, that's what we do. Like, that's what an introvert does. Like, we solve problems a lot of the time because we're thinking about, how can we solve this problem? How can we solve that problem?
I think that's true.
So tell us how Ace Chat. So you told us how Ace Chat got started. What are you guys doing now? How did you get to where you are now? Kind of what have been the ups and downs? We was kind of like to talk about success, obstacles and successes, because every business owner has them, and we like to be transparent about those.
I think the biggest probably obstacle, first of all, let me go back to your original question. We are still in the live chat business. We're kind of a one-trick pony, and that's what we do, and we're really good at it.
I love it.
So I love it too, and so does my team that works for me. If without them, I wouldn't have anything. So they're all amazing women who are very dedicated, and I can't say enough good things about them. There's not enough podcasts to cover all the merits that they possess. But as far as obstacles go, I would say probably the biggest barrier has been me, because I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to own my own business. I mean, I went to CSU. I've never, not through high school, not through college, I've never taken a single business class in my life. I'm not an accountant. So all these kind of barriers to good business sense, I didn't know everything we've learned. It's been on the go. Pick it up and roll with it.
Yeah, I will say most business owners do that. I do that, regardless of my accounting background and business acumen or business classes. Like, nobody really knows how to run a business until they're actually
in the
middle of it,
and it's
right?
Swim.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, am I a technician or am I a business owner? You have to learn these things, and it's different. Every journey is different.
Oh, for sure. And I think one of the biggest things I learned through somebody is a dear friend and also a colleague who I respect greatly, but she actually said to me, I was talking about this whole work-life balance thing. And she said, I think it's a bunch of crap. And she didn't exactly use that word, but the sentimentality was there. And she said, it's not a balance, because sometimes you have to work a little harder. Sometimes you have to play a little harder. It's not a balance, it's a blend. And when she said that to me, I was kind of, talk about a light bulb moment. Things kind of clicked, and I thought, okay, this balance thing is impossible, but I can blend. I can totally blend every single day, minute to minute. And that really changed my personal level of, just how hard I was on myself as well. Kind of let me be have a little bit more grace.
Yeah, and I think that's huge.
And growth too, because you weren't trying so hard to strike this impossible balance.
Yeah, that's not a thing. One of my favorite people on this planet, Stephen Crawford, who's been on the podcast a ton of times, he talks about work-life synergy, right? He'll get up, work for a while, and then he's got kids, or like he's got stuff they have to do, or he'll go work out in the middle of the day or whatever. Like, we have to, especially as business owners, like we have to figure out how to do what we need to do personally, take care of ourselves, deal with our families, but also, do the things we want to do in our business. And that always looks like a push-pull, right?
For sure.
So yeah, like we'll put it in the blender instead of like on a seesaw.
Right.
And it all blends together. My tasks for today look like personal and business stuff. If we don't walk away from either one of those things rarely, especially if we're working from home.
Exactly.
Awesome. So what have been some of the biggest obstacles to building ACE?
Well, I think probably, and I've said this before,
Mhm.
not knowing how much to give my team, wanting to make sure that they're not overworked, that they're well cared for and things like that. And really probably one of my biggest faults has been not underestimating their talent, but under tasking them because they're capable of so much more. And I was kind of protecting them, but really I didn't need to protect them because they were able to thrive without me, hovering over them and babying them, because they're fantastic. So that, I think, has been a thing that I've had to learn. I'm not the numbers girl. So chasing down money, or trying to figure out how to balance the books or come up with some sort of a system, that's definitely been a challenge for me as well. And I think we've been doing this. Next month is 10 years we've been in business, which I'm really proud of, and never could have on day one, when I was in tears over setting up payroll, which I didn't have any experience with. How do I do this? I've got people in several different states reporting to different things like that. And that literally just broke me. I ended up in tears. And, and looking back now, thinking grace is a thing, not only with others, but with ourselves, and learning every step of the way that it was okay to learn, and it was okay to make mistakes. Some of them were more expensive than others. When you rebrand, it costs money.
Oh yeah.
Love the logo that you start with.
We just did one of those too. It was almost about a year project. So
yeah, nobody tells you these kind of things. And I think the other thing that I wish that I had known, and I would go back and tell myself, starting out at day one, seek counsel on even the things that you kind of think might be dumb, because somebody can give you this fresh perspective that you haven't thought of or considered. Seeking counsel from people who are business owners and otherwise. People want to help you. People don't want to see you really fail.
I love
does, but
we talk a lot about the power of outside eyes over here. Like, we cannot see our own stuff ever, right? And so I'm always like handing my stuff to other people to look at, like, call me on this, or what's happening and what needs to happen. But that's what we provide for our clients, because we can see what's going on the outside a lot of the time. And I think, again, back to the introvert stuff, like, we definitely see deeper a lot of the time because we're looking for things beyond the surface. And really, it's like our bullshit meters are pretty well calibrated generally.
Indeed, for sure.
So let's get into some nitty gritty about ACE Chat. How does a live chat service work?
So it's actually, and I tell people this all the time, I'm actually not the techie girl, as I've already told you, I'm the customer service girl, but the tech side of it is, there's this little snippet of HTML code that goes onto the site, the webmaster pastes it in there, and voila, chat is live. It is in application very simple as far as the back side of it goes. The front side of it is a little bit more complex, because what we really want to do is make sure that when somebody goes to a business website, if I'm representing you, I need to know what you say about you. So I need to get to know your business. And we're very interconnected with our clients. We want to know as much about them as possible. We want to be able to best represent them, because we're the face of the website, right? We want to be able to help people warmly, compassionately, kindly, things like that, but also represent the business as well. So I like to tell people, again, kind of like marionettes. You tell us what to say and we'll say it for you. But we want to do it as empathetically as possible, because especially now with all of this madness in our world, and kind of the way things have changed, we want to treat them like they're significant, like they matter, like they're valuable. And so I think a little kindness goes a long way. But basically it just pops up on the website. My team is there to chat, answer questions, and kind of convert clicks into customers. It's that simple.
That's awesome. So how does one, like, how do you guys get into the nitty gritty of like what a business does? I know you guys, specialize in dental, right?
Yes, dental.
So that's probably helps, you guys know the services, the questions and things like that. But how do you speak in the voice of the business? Because really a lot of business is really, we've done the copy, we've done the job, we kind of know what our voices are. We've tried to establish a voice. How do you guys get intimate with that? That's always like my question is like, how are you going to sound like me?
And that is a great question. So certainly knowing kind of the basic checklist of things that the business does and does not do. And we are largely in dental, ortho, perio, but we also have a lot of clients that are, one-off small business owners, solopreneurs. But I think kind of one thing is I want to mimic who you are as a business, but I'm not trying to mimic who you are as a person, because I want to be able to speak in authenticity in our own voices as well. Right. So kind of figuring out what there goes the blend word again, the blend word between who you are and what I know kind of works in chat, and just making sure that people get their questions answered as quickly as possible is really the end goal.
That's awesome. So what if you guys can't answer a question? How does that usually work? Does it go to the business owner or, their in-house staff? Like, I know when I think about like the services we provide and how different it is from a standard accounting firm, like we're not just like tax returns and whatever, like it's so different. I would think that you guys would get a lot of standard questions, but also like you probably get a lot of questions that would not be, that would be different than, what you would usually get with an accounting firm.
Absolutely. So kind of one of the things to consider would be, what's the end goal of our purpose in chatting for whatever particular business it is. So using you as an example, I can't answer all the questions that you can answer because you are the specialist in what you do. But if the end goal is to get them on the phone with you, to get on a discovery call or a consult or whatever it is, then that's what we want to help them do, is direct them to the next best step, whatever that is, whether it's scheduling a cleaning or scheduling a discovery call, or telling them, hey, this particular business is not a good fit for your needs, and here is a resource for you. So we can kind of direct that based on the business owner's particular desires. One of my clients is a screen printer here in Denver. I don't know if you know Zamar, Suzanne. I have to make the introduction to you. You'll love her energy. And she started off as a client, has also become a very dear friend. But in her particular business, some of the things she wants me to ask are, what's the quantity? When do you need this? Do you have a particular logo you want us to use? Are we designing that for you? So I can work with the business owner to come up with an FAQ, list of questions you would want me to ask, and then direct them from there as appropriate.
Oh, okay. I love that. It's actually awesome. We actually just added FAQs to the new website, and I don't think anybody looks at them. So how does so you said there's usually an end goal with the chat. So it's goal oriented, right? Like we're trying to, answer the questions to get people to some place, is it to schedule a cleaning, click a link, schedule a call, what does that look like? So how does the chat service help facilitate that? So instead of people hitting like a contact, filling in a contact form, they're probably just going to you guys, right? And then you're saying, this is what you need to do.
Right. So, ideally, we would love to talk with everybody who is visiting a website, but the reality of the situation is not everybody wants to communicate in X particular style. So
a lot of people X out.
Yes. And that's okay. The goal is to not be a bot. Number one, we definitely want to be human. I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm asked more now if I'm a bot than I was 10 years ago when this was new. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
But yeah, so in any case, what we want to do is, and I totally lost the question.
No, you're fine. How
am I answering?
You're totally fine. Because it was probably multifaceted, and I probably kind of answered it myself because that's how this works. How do you guys direct prospects?
Okay.
How do you, is there a formula for that, or?
Well, so, and again, it's going to kind of be client driven. What's the end goal? What am I doing for this particular client? And so if it's to get them to schedule, we want to help do that. If it's to get them to download the white paper, we want to help do that. If it's to get them to, let's answer these 10 questions and then pass them off to this particular person, we can do that. So really the end goal is going to be more driven or designated, specified by the client, and then we'll follow that.
Okay, awesome. Um,
And we were talking earlier about how this is a week of Mondays. So there's a great
yeah,
example of, I don't even know what the question was.
you're fine. You're fine. I don't even know what they really are. I wrote some of them down, but we go down rabbit holes, and things change as we go here. So what is the benefit of having the live chat? I mean, obviously it's that, upfront on the website, but what do you guys, what are you guys looking at in hard numbers? I need to know, like, how do you guys help with conversions? How do you help move leads?
Well, the old standard was, and the new data is actually coming out now, but people who clicked on the live chat were 8 times more likely to convert than if they had just clicked through the website. So the information may or may not be available on your site, but the reality is people aren't going looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be able to help even answer the questions that are already on the site, and they may be plain as day, but they're just simply not going to look. They want somebody to tell them, and that's okay. That's why we're here. Mm-hmm. I tell my clients all the time, put me to work for you. Mm-hmm. Make me work for you, make me answer questions, help me, gain knowledge about your particular business so that we can be more successful for you. But really, if you're building a relationship with somebody right in the beginning from chat, are you more likely to do business with that person, or more likely to do business with the person where you just click the website? So intuitively, it does make sense. More chats equal more conversions, more butts and seats, as I like to call it.
Are you guys so are you guys available 24 hours a day? Like, how does that work?
That's a great question. We're actually Monday through Friday. We've found that this tends to be the time when most people are getting the most qualified leads. Again, we are largely in the dental space. We actually, right before COVID hit in January of 2020, beta tested Saturdays. We thought maybe we go the Chick-fil-A model and not open Sundays, but be open Saturdays. And we just did not see the engagement that we thought we would. We were really prepared to add Saturdays on, and it just wasn't, we found it wasn't necessary. So the quality of the leads, believe it or not, are mostly coming in during the hours that offices and businesses are open. And that doesn't, it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the office's ability to answer the phone. It's that people are at work, they're on conference calls, they're multitasking, they're clicking through a website, they can get their answer really quick through live chat. So they're doing it while they're at work and can't necessarily get on the phone.
I like it. I love that. I love that the 8 times more conversions. I think that's a really interesting. Number, because I know a lot of small businesses, like, we just don't have time to answer the questions that people, ask via, the contact form. I can't tell you how many contact forms that are like, are you accepting clients? That's like, but click the link to schedule a time.
That is
it works.
Question that we're
I am.
a lot. I mean, probably the most common question is, are you accepting new clients, new patients, new business, new whatever? Yes, we are. So that is a common question that gets asked a lot.
That's really interesting. It's funny though, because when I see that on a website, I always feel like, are they new? Or, it's like, there's always that balance between, are you available for a reason? Or like, can I get in an emergency kind of situation, right?
Right.
Especially when we were talking like dental, it's like, I don't want you to be too open.
Yes. And the other thing that's interesting too is, and I tell people this all the time, we want to be part of the businesses that we represent. We don't want to look like we're outsourced. So if you're available at 3:00 on a Saturday morning, are you really here in the US? Have you been outsourced? I mean, is it really a person? Is it a bot? And so I think that too is another important factor, is that yes, we're here, we're people, we're part of this particular team, and we're able to help you. But there's a value in keeping it in the US here, but also just being upfront and honest with your patients about who you've got, or clients who you've got, chatting for you as well.
Yeah, I think that's important. And you said you guys are 100% US based, and I'm assuming totally virtual, which I find always fascinating, because we're a totally virtual distributed team as well.
Yep, we were virtual before virtual was cool. So yep, we've been doing this for 10 years now. We're HIPAA compliant. There's nothing that isn't compliant with what we do, which is awesome and important, and secure as well, which is another value and important as well. The other thing is we're not contract based, so we prove to our clients every single month why they need to keep us.
Oh, awesome. I love it. All right. So before I ask my last question, what is the easiest way to find you?
You can chat with me on my website.
Love
it's acechatservice.com, or Beth at acechatservice.com is a great email as well.
Awesome. All right, last question for you. What is the one thing a practice can do today to have a better initial client or prospect interaction?
That is a great question. I believe in dealing with the various offices and practices and businesses that I deal with. Customer service is everything. First impressions are big, and you don't often get a second chance to make a first impression. So I feel that attitude and tone and honesty, as far as you can't fake it when you answer the phone. You actually have to care. So I would say honesty and caring about what you do is a big deal.
I love it. That's why I just don't answer the phone. So you're going to get me in the middle of my Monday. What do you want?
Exactly. It's hard to fake that,
Awesome. Beth, thank you so much for your time today.
It was so fun being here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or wherever you prefer to listen. If you learned something and found some useful information to apply to your business today, please consider giving us a thumbs up and a review. Until next week, be abundant.